Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all thank you very much, very warmly, for attending this important discussion um, to understand the lessons that can be drawn from the very important initiative of Copenhagen municipality together with Copenhagen House of Food to use public procurement and the school meals program in particular as a means to move towards sustainable food systems. My name is Olivier de Schutter. I've been for 6 years, between 2008 and 2014, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the right to food, and I now am the co-chair of the International Panel of Experts on Sustainable Food Systems. It is a great pleasure for me to speak after Lord Mayor Frank Jensen, and I would like to pay homage to my highly esteemed colleague, Professor Tim Lang from City University London, who has been doing so much over the years to advocate for well-being, health being at the center of food policies, and who is better informed than anyone about the role of public procurement in this regard. And of course, my thanks also to Emil Bloert, whose enthusiasm and energy are remarkable in pushing this initiative forward and in ensuring that others learn from the experience of Copenhagen in this matter. The municipality of Copenhagen, together with Copenhagen House of Food, have been achieving remarkable success in encouraging a shift to sustainable food systems in the region with a very impressive program on school meals that are sourced from organic farmers. I understand that about 60,000 meals daily are being served, most of which are now sourced organically, and this concerns also some 6,000 pupils in the public schools in Copenhagen. This is a remarkable achievement, and it is one that I believe should be better known, closely studied for others to seek inspiration from. My own interest in this very important experiment stems from my conviction, built over the years, that local initiatives, social innovations at municipal level in particular, have a major role to play in allowing us to shift to sustainable food systems. The reason for this is, first of all, that coordination across different policy areas, multi-sectoral initiatives, if you wish, are much easier to achieve at the local level than at national or international level. For a program such as the Copenhagen Public School Meals Program, or more generally the initiatives that the Copenhagen House of Food has taken, you need to work across different policy areas. It, of course, involves education, but also environment, agriculture. It involves food policies in general, and the necessity to cut across discrete policy areas that often at national level are dealt with by separate ministries. That is much easier to achieve at the local level. Moreover, the local level is one in which ordinary citizens, school parents, teachers, school directors can be much more easily involved because they can feel they have a very concrete and direct stake in the experiment succeeding. In other terms, as a source of food democracy, local initiatives that try to shift to sustainable sourcing of food for public school meal programs is extremely important and indeed achievable. Thirdly, it is at the local level that some major obstacles can be circumvented, some major actors being bypassed that otherwise might be tempted to veto any significant change in the food system. When we try to achieve change from the top down, from the national or international level to the local level, we often encounter resistance by major actors, lobbies who have no interest in change and instead benefit from the system as it is. And I think the local level is much better equipped to bypass this opposition and circumvent this obstacle. I would like to emphasize that the experience of Copenhagen, the experiment of Copenhagen, is one that is widely watched, admired across the world, and should serve as a model for many other municipalities, cities trying to achieve the same. It strikes me, for example, that in OECD countries, public procurement represents some 12% of the GDP, much of which is dedicated to the purchasing of food for schools, for public administrations, for hospitals, and so forth. And this can be a very important lever to move towards sustainable food systems. Indeed, as you are aware, the 10-year framework program on sustainable consumption and production launched at UN level by the UN Environmental Programme and FAO was launched after the Johannesburg Plan of Action was adopted at the World Summit on Sustainable Development in 2002, and sustainable public procurement policies were very central to this program on sustainable consumption and production, a program that is now further strengthened by Rio Plus 20 and shall be further supported under the Sustainable Development Goals to be adopted next September in New York. Copenhagen is, like some other places, at the vanguard of a worldwide movement. For example, in Brazil, we have probably the most impressive school meal program in the world. This involves some 49 million children across the country, benefiting from the national program on school meals. And since 2009, a law in Brazil obliges schools to source 30% of their food from family farms, as they're called in Brazil, relatively small-scale farms, often practicing agroecological types of agriculture in order to provide children with fresh, locally sourced foods that are better for their health and can also be a way for them to learn about adequate nutrition. In the US, we have a very impressive farm to school program that is now extending to 49 states in the US, and that again tries to connect local farmers with schools in these states in the United States. And the 2014 Farm Bill, the most recent version of the Farm Bill that the US regularly updates in order to strengthen its farming sector, now encourages procurement of unprocessed fruits and vegetables to supply school meal programs in 8 pilot states that are now providing children with better food thanks to these local purchasing policies. It is also perhaps worth noting that the regulatory environment that for many years was seen as an obstacle to this kind of approach has now been amended so that these experiments, such as those led by Copenhagen, are now fully and explicitly endorsed by these regulatory changes that have taken place. I'm thinking here in particular of Directive 2014-24 of 26th of February 2014, adopted by the EU on public procurement. This Directive 2014-24 is one that now explicitly allows and recommends that states, public authorities in general, divide up the public tenders that they publish in small lots so that small farmers in particular can make proposals under these public tenders, and so that all producers of all sizes have fair chances to compete. The Directive 2014-24 also is very explicit that environmental and social conditions may be included in public procurement schemes, thus encouraging sustainable procurement, particularly for the purchasing of food. Similarly, at the level of the World Trade Organization, we had in 2012-2014, it entered into force in 2014, a revision of the government procurement agreement that now makes it explicitly possible for WTO members having joined this plurilateral agreement on government procurement to include social environmental conditions in public contracts. The specifications related to certain environmental and social conditions are now authorized by the new GPA, the Government Procurement Agreement of the WTO. And the most advantageous offer is one that can include non-economic considerations. So I would like to close by saying that, of course, I regret very much that I cannot be with you today, despite the very kind invitation that was extended to me by Emil Blauert. I would very much have liked to be able to share these moments with you. But I can assure you that what is being done in Copenhagen is widely watched, admired, a source of inspiration for many. And I very much believe that it is empowering to citizens who understand that they should not wait for change to occur from the top. They should not wait for governments at national level or indeed the international community to drive these changes. It is in their hands. It is in your hands to make this change and to lead by example. And there are many reasons to be impatient, and there is no reason whatsoever to wait. Many thanks, and I look forward to our future collaboration.